Hello, welcome everybody. Hi, Golbahar. Hello, Cindy. Hi, Martha. Meg. Hello. Hi, Emma. How are you guys? It's great to see you here. Welcome to the Blissful Birth Awakening. My name is Leah LaHue. I am a birth doula and a childbirth educator, and it is so great to see you guys. If you can pop on your camera, I would love to see your face. That would be excellent as we're building this community and welcoming more people. Hi, Mom. Oh, I gotta love Mom. Yeah, so I'm so happy that you guys are here today. This event has been on my heart. Hi, Gobahar. For 7 years. I mean, and possibly even longer than that, because this is a journey of self-discovery and birthing yourself as a mother from within. Birth and motherhood is such a soul journey. It's such a process of evolution in the self, of healing the self and meeting the self in deeper and deeper ways and coming into full embodiment and presence, which this is really all our children actually need from us anyway. This is what they want the most. So maybe you're here because you're pregnant and you're ready to give birth, and maybe you've been doing your preparations and you sense that you might need a little additional support. You might be here because you are planning to conceive and you're working your mind around how that's going to fit into your life. You might be asking yourself, what's going to change in my life? Is my partnership ready? How am I going to balance my career and my social life with all of the things that come with birth and motherhood and postpartum and having a small child? And some of you are here because you are birth workers or you're supporting families and women in this huge transition. And all of that is welcome. If you're newly postpartum and you're here, there's going to be great information for you as well, because at the heart of this event is inspiring you to care for yourself, is inspiring you to listen to your body, drop into trusting your authority and your inner senses. There's so much external noise out there that is just really influencing us. And there's a culture that doesn't really see women in this huge spiritual initiation that is birth and motherhood. So if you have a second, please drop in the chat, where are you at in your journey? Are you pregnant? Are you postpartum? Are you planning to conceive? I would love to just know who's here and what you're ready for. So over the next 5 days, we're going to have a deep dive into embodiment and trust in the process and birth. We're going to cover emotional well-being. We're going to talk about natural physiological labor. That's going to apply no matter where you're planning to give birth, home birth, birth center, hospital birth. We're going to cover all of the things that you need to know because it's the same. In a lot of sense, the body works the same way. Now, the strategy changes a little bit depending on where you're giving birth. The strategy for how you're going to birth will change. But what we're going to cover today is embodiment and presence over the next 5 days. We're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about the foundations of connected and aware parenting. We've got 7 guest speakers that are going to be sharing with you their personal specialties. So today at 10:45, Katie Lister, who's the founder of Other Mind, which is a breathwork resource portal for anxiety and pregnancy, postpartum, and fertility. She's going to be coming on and doing some breath work and some nervous system regulation exercises. Because if you've dived into childbirth education at all yet, you might know that the key is relaxing and surrendering and opening yourself. And this is true for natural physiological birth. It's also true for the identity shift that comes from welcoming in a new life. There is a huge identity shift that happens. Our hormones change, our brain changes, our body changes. We become more emotional and more in tune with our inner senses. And that's where people say pregnancy brain. And it actually is really a thing. Like your brain actually is changing, and it's shifting from that reasoning, cognitive thinking brain into a deeper, intuitive, more emotional sense so that you can tune into the needs of your child. And that identity shift has been 7 years in the making for me. So let me see here. Someone said something. Wonderful. Okay. Hi, Martha. Thank you so much for sharing. I really hope that you feel held in this 5-day experience. I am no stranger to traumatic birth. I have a lot of experience with that, and I'm just looking forward to getting to know you better. Let's see, anybody else say anything? Okay, excellent. All right, so I'm going to start by sharing my story with you. So I never wanted to be a mom. Like I truly never had the desire. I mean, I was at age 30 and I was in a spiritual school that was, it was a school of metaphysics. It was the school of the mind arts. And we were learning spiritual principles of creation and manifestation and self-awareness and reflection. And really it was a deep self-study where you confront your wounding and you confront your limiting beliefs and your identity. And I was 30 years old when I moved to Kansas City. And I really thought that I would never be a mother. I truly believed that it was a less than role. And this is part of our patriarchal culture. We're conditioned to think this, and I've really confronted this in myself. But this patriarchal culture, I mean, I didn't see mothers who were thriving. I didn't see mothers who were happy. They were always overwhelmed. They were, rarely thanked. It was just kind of this less than mentality that I had. And I thought, like, who would want to give up so much for motherhood and in a culture that it's not valued? And I moved to Kansas City to work within the School of Metaphysics. And I was teaching classes and coaching adults to interpret their dreams and create the life of their desire. And I moved to Kansas City to start that school branch. And I was there for 30 days and I was not looking for my partner. I had just gotten out of a really traumatic relationship. And I was writing my thesis for my doctorate of divinity on why people cross paths. So I am a hugely passionate about relationships and family systems and the reasons why people come together for healing in a lifetime. I believe that there are soul contracts ahead of time, that we come into this world ready to meet one another and create with one another for a reason. And I was trying out all of these coffee shops, like figuring out where I wanted to work for that day to finish my thesis on why people cross paths. And I walk into this coffee shop. It's this beautiful modern thing. It's, subway tile on the floor, high ceilings, just this really like black and white kind of brown table vibe, and, hipster kind of music playing, and it is packed. And I look around quickly before getting in line because I wanted to snag a table. There was one table left. So I get to my table, I sit down, I open my computer, and I look to my left, and there's 2 men sitting there. And I said, hi, because, that's just my nature. I open my computer, start getting to typing. And one of them says, what you working on? And flash forward a few years later, I was married to that man and planning a family. So when I met him, I truly thought, oh my gosh, this is like, I actually want to have children. I want to watch this man become a father. That was really the seed thought that I had. And with that desire was a huge resistance in my nervous system. I couldn't see it. I really couldn't see myself as a mother. I was very anxious, but I knew that I wanted it. So I had to really rework my identity around all of that. And there was a lot of struggle. There was a lot of struggle for me within myself to really bring this identity of mother forward. And this identity shift and some of the pain that it can bring forward is mirrored and paralleled in the pain of birth. So a lot of women, when we're working with birth and pain, they're concerned about, how am I going to manage the pain? Well, I can tell you, my number one thing to start now before birth is look at how you're handling emotional pain in your life. Can you face the hard feelings? Can you manage the anger and let yourself feel it? Let yourself rage fully. Can you have those difficult conversations? Can you set those boundaries and express your needs? Because if you can practice that now, which we're going to go deep dive into this later, if you can practice that now, you're going to be able to receive and flow within the pain or sensations of labor. And so this is a beautiful thing. So my life now, my children are 5 and 7 years old. I had 2 beautiful, natural, blissful births, is really awesome. So I have finally gotten my stride as a mother. It took me 7 years, you guys. It's not going to take you that long, because I want this information and this process and this support structure to be part of our culture. I really want to infiltrate this support to you throughout the entire motherhood journey. But I can say now, since being a mother for 7 years, I've also built a thriving doula career and a career as a childbirth educator. So I have attended over 75 births as a doula in just a few years. And I've watched women navigate some of the same systemic challenges and the same internal growth and evolution and just purging of the wound and healing of the childhood wounds and the cultural wounds that we face as women. So I also was a childbirth educator at Baylor University Medical Center. So I was a birth doula teaching classes in the hospital. So I have a very intimate relationship with the medical world and the medical system and how to navigate through that system. And the principles that I'm going to teach you in this next 5 days will apply to birth in any setting. But if you are planning to give birth in the hospital, I am so here to support that, because a lot of women really need extra support with their strategy in the hospital, because it can be a little more rushed, a little more just kind of like, we're going to do this, 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 and this. And it's less about you and more about the medical model and the medical system and checking things off the list. So I had my 2 babies they're ages 5 and 7 now, unmedicated in a birth center. And it was absolute bliss. Even through the challenge, the pain, the emotions that arise, the self-doubt, the fear, all of that is going to arise in your birth experience. That is part of birth. So really to receive and allow that experience to come, that is the key to natural physiological birth. So if you really want to have an empowered, embodied birth, it's very important to be able to make peace with those feelings and those sensations. So I was high for days after my natural births. It was such a transcendent experience. I could feel every single move and passing through my body of my babies. It was absolutely magical. I was well supported, and I mean, everything went exactly according to my plan on paper in birth. And then postpartum came. And I will say that was the most difficult experience of my life. One thing you're going to learn about me is I'm very emotional. It's actually a superpower. And I will probably shed a few tears on this call. So I want you to know that you're safe here, and it's safe to do that with me and within this group. So I was 5 weeks postpartum with my baby, and I was sitting in a rocking chair, and I had him cuddled on my chest, and I had my very first intrusive thought. And there's actually a science to intrusive thoughts. If you've ever had one, it is basically uh, your worst fear comes into your mind, and then there's a fear reaction that's perpetuated. And so the thought continues to absorb and be obsessed in the thinking. And I was so terrified, so terrified. I couldn't trust myself. It affected my marriage. Yeah. Yeah. So my healing journey really started there, because it affected my ability to trust myself as a mother. Thanks, Legacy. Yeah, I know you feel me. Type a 1 in the chat if anyone has ever experienced that kind of situation with their mental health. Let me see here. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. Birth and postpartum is a lot, and it doesn't have to be hard. We can be really strategic and really have the right mindset to get us there. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Legacy. It is so powerful to do it unmedicated. Deep connection. Yes. When you're not numbed out. Yes, absolutely. Intrusive thoughts are a bitch. That's right. So, so the first intrusive thought happened at 5 weeks, and I was so incredibly afraid of myself. I went through such a journey with shame and wanting to hide and not really getting to enjoy my baby and my motherhood in that first probably 6 to 12 months. It affected my marriage. So many things happened in my marriage that, we thought we were prepared, and we were greatly prepared for the birth, but we were not prepared for the transition into parenthood. There just wasn't enough education, and I didn't know what I needed to know. And now that I've worked with hundreds of families as an educator and a doula, I see all the time that people come through my class, or they'll hop on a call to do a consultation with me, and I ask them about their education, and they've got an understanding of birth and how it happens, but there's no embodiment exercises, there's no movement, there's no breath work, there's no training of the nervous system. They haven't learned to deal with the emotions. Their partner's not prepared. And so I thought, wouldn't it be nice if all of this information was in one spot for all of these people? So postpartum was super hard for me the first time around. And, it took me really 7 years to come to a full experience of grief, the grief that happens when we give birth. And, excuse me, people say, oh, you've got a happy, healthy baby, and you should be happy about that. But truly, with birth also comes a death. And every birth births a mother as well. And that mother shifts from maiden to mother. And again, that shift is huge. And we need to be talking about how important it is to support women. We need communities of women sharing this information, and it needs to be free. This information needs to be out there and really embodied in the women that are choosing this path, choosing the path of birth and motherhood. So my marriage really has evolved so much. I hit the ground several months ago, and I realized that we would not make it, right? I decided that I was going to get a divorce because we had never really been able to reconnect and find each other again after such a huge shift into parenthood. And at that time, when I made that decision, I felt grief. And that grief went all the way through me. I hit the ground. I sobbed. I screamed. I cried out. I purged it all. The grief of my body, the grief of the relationship we once had, the grief of my creative energy going towards these two beautiful children and losing myself completely. there is so much grief that comes with motherhood, and it's okay to grieve. We need to grieve. We must grieve. And here's why. When you don't grieve, you don't fully feel that feeling, you have a complete and total disconnect in your nervous system and your body. And what is the one thing our children truly need from us as mothers? Connection. It is as vital as food and water. So if we haven't processed this grief and these feelings that come with this journey into matrescence, into motherhood, then it affects every area of our lives, and it affects how we parent. And you may be here also because, like me, I wanted to have a different experience as a mother than what I saw in our culture. And there are things I wanted to be able to give that would be healing for me in my childhood trauma. I wanted to raise my children differently, with a different sense of peace with their emotions and an understanding of who they are inside and a real connection to themselves. And that is really important. I wanted to heal ancestral trauma that's passed down by our maternal lineage and paternal lineage. And this trauma and this ancestral line holds both strengths and weaknesses. And it's really important to note that you're going to parent how you were parented unless you're doing deep trauma work and feeling that grief. So my children trigger me all the time. And the age that they're at really triggers the trauma from that age. So birth is intricately connected to how you're going to show up as a mother. This is really important to understand. So the principles that we're going to follow over the next 5 days are going to apply to birth and postpartum and to parenthood. It's the universals. And the connecting thread is yourself, is you. Okay. Legacy, matrescence. Yes, matrescence, kind of like how you would describe puberty. Matrescence is the word for the spiritual, emotional, hormonal, chemical, physical shift that a woman goes through when they give birth. So it is a whole thing that I hope to make mainstream awareness for people over the next couple of years. Okay, pregnant with my second. Okay. Oh, wow. Thank you, Meg, for sharing that. Wow. A home birth. Awesome. So great. Home births are beautiful. I love them so much. Awesome. Thanks for that, guys. Love it when you guys chat me up. I really like to hear your thoughts and your questions. So throughout the next 5 days, we will definitely be diving in to all things that you want to talk about. And I really believe in community learning and learning from one another. I think it's really important and it's really powerful. I want to talk about bliss. So I chose the name Blissful Birth Awakening because I have experienced great bliss amidst the pain of sorrow, amidst the inspiration of joy. When your baby arrives and you feel that baby come out of your body, it is the best feeling in the world. Okay, women actually orgasm in birth. The pain and pleasure line is very gray. You can shift that with certain techniques, which we're gonna talk about in a little while. So when your baby arrives, you're gonna feel so much pressure and so much intensity. Yes, orgasmic births. There is so much happening in your mind, spirit, body, soul, and it's intense. And there's so much just like squeeze and strength that comes through your body. And then when your child's head clears, it is the best feeling in the world. So you have this to look forward to. This is bliss. You haven't heard about orgasm in birth. Yeah, it actually happens. It's more rare on the first person, but but like the first birth, but as you practice and have more babies, it's more likely. Yeah. So let me just describe to you. Do you know how, like, when you really have to go to the bathroom and you're like, oh my God, I'm not going to make it, like you're going to have diarrhea? We're going to talk about all the TMI things too. So I hope that's okay with y'all. But you're running to the bathroom and you're just like, I gotta go. And then you finally get there, legacy, and you release and it's like the best feeling ever. I want you to take that feeling and times it by 100 in your imagination. That's what it feels like when your baby comes out. It is total bliss. You get all these beautiful endorphins, your body's natural painkillers. Your body was designed perfectly to give birth to this baby. And you are going to meet yourself in the portal. And that is what bliss is to me. Bliss is when all of the emotions clear, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, the wonderful, the pleasant, and you are connected to your heart and soul and to your maker. And that is the experience of birth. And some people aren't able to handle that, and they, use medication, and that's okay. Like, I am not someone who's going to judge you for your birth choices. I have seen it all. What I care about for you is that you are informed and educated and you have consent on all of your options, and that you trust your gut when you create your strategy for your birth. That is incredibly important. And what I care about for you is that you meet yourself and your feelings now before your birth, because your body will relax the more that you feel those feelings, and the more that you heal those childhood wounds and that trauma and any wounding that you might be facing. The more that you do that, the easier your birth is going to be. And I've seen it time and time again. Embodiment, movement, breath work, sensuality. We're going to do some embodiment exercises and breathing. We're actually going to practice our birth over the next several days. That is the key, because birth happens in the body. It doesn't happen by thinking about it. And it's the same when you're trying or preparing to conceive and preparing your family. It can feel really overwhelming. Well, I heard this birth story over here, and my friend's birth, and do I go to a hospital or an OB or a midwife? I don't know. Am I safe to birth at home? I'm over the age of 35. And there's all of this mess. And it's so easy to get stuck there in birth and in preparing for birth. But when you feel the pressure of overthinking, that's when I want you to drop into your body and think and breathe, not think. Let's breathe and get really present with ourselves. Allow those feelings to feel. So this is something we need to practice regularly if you want to prepare for birth. It's a combination of feeling your feelings, breath work, movement, and embodiment. This is all incredibly important. And these skills are going to carry with you throughout your motherhood journey. And my hope for you is that you feel inspired by the end of this, that you have a renowned sense of trust in yourself and in your intuition, so that when your birth does arise and you need to make decisions, you understand, you've done the work in your conscious mind and brain, and you've explored your options ahead of time, you've selected your preferences, and then you can trust yourself to make those choices in the moment, so you can totally relax and surrender and let go. And so much healing is going to come from that process for you. And that's why I like to talk about bliss. This is that deep, deep interconnection with ourselves, and the joy and the inspiration that comes from that. And our children feel that. Your nervous system is deeply connected to your baby. So if you want to be a good mom, right? Like, which that's a broad statement. Really, the thing you need to do first is focus on relaxing and being present. That's what it is. Be in your body. Your baby will benefit tremendously, both in pregnancy and in postpartum. And then even my kids are 7 years old, and we're constantly co-regulating. So if I'm in my head and disconnected from my body, and I'm like stressed about something, I react when they react. My kid has a meltdown because that's what they do. Children are wild, they're untamed, they're emotional, right? Like, We have to deal with our emotions in order to support our children's emotions. Otherwise, we're just going to repeat those cycles of trauma that were instilled in our bodies when people couldn't handle our emotions, right? This is systemic and it's cyclical. And there's a culture that has trained us to be this way. Our culture cannot handle emotion. It's really hard for our culture. We have to try very, very hard to make peace with how we feel. And you know what? Your divine feminine power in birth comes from your emotional power. That is true again and again. I've seen it so many times. Like I said, I've assisted over 75 births, mostly in the hospital. So I had my own home births. And then when I became a doula, which is a really magical story, totally like a calling from the universe, I was called straight into the hospital system, which I was terrified about. I was shocked. And what I noticed is that in birth, if a woman feels safe, she can feel and express her feelings. She will meet a point in birth where that trauma wants to be resolved in the body, and it will arise in the body. And she's either going to shut it down and be afraid, or she's going to open, and the whole thing is going to dissipate through her entire system, all of her chakras, her mental system, her emotional system. It's going to dissipate out with the intensity of those contractions. And a lot of women cry. And I am so for crying in birth. Listen, ladies, you have got to feel your feelings. It is essential in your mental health journey. And we have an epidemic of maternal mental health issues in our culture because our culture cannot handle our feelings. Okay. So I am here to support you. I am here for your feelings. This is my jam, is helping people express their emotions and come to a deeper place of bliss. That is my jam. I love it. So this is going to vacillate in all areas of your life. So back to our culture. Yes, it is so important. Legacy. Thank you so much. I love it. Yeah. And so this is what I think. Are you ready? So our culture, at the heart of it, is systemic patriarchy. And what I mean by that is the importance of the feminine has been removed on purpose. So there can be gain, profit, greed, control, fear, however you want to call it. So women have been removed from themselves intentionally by our culture. Now, I will say, I want everyone here to know the hospital system is a big part of this culture. All right. And this is why a lot of women, you might be aware of this, you might already know this, and this is why you've chosen a home birth or a birth center. I am not anti-hospital at all. In fact, I met a woman who she was a friend. Like, our children were playing together. Our children went to school together, and we were at a park on like a nice sunny day, and we were talking and chatting, and I told her I was a birth doula, and she, like, I saw in her body, this is why it's so important to be aware of your body, because she had a big reaction to me being a doula. And I kind of paused and just was present for a moment because I saw what happened. And she shared with me a few moments later, I had a hospital birth, and there was a very rare experience. I'm very careful with what I want to share with you guys here, because I want you to have a positive mindset that's built on trust. But a very, very rare experience that she had for her birth, and the hospital saved her baby. And it was not caused by the hospital. She wasn't even in the hospital. So I would never want a woman in that situation who did what she had to do and went to the hospital to feel like her birth was less than, or it didn't count. Because the process that she went through is the same. That grief, the identity dissolution, the fear, the meeting yourself, the strength that's built, it is the same. But I will say that in this patriarchal culture, it is not going to change ourselves. And it has disconnected us from our children. Well, let's start with our bodies. Our patriarchal culture has disconnected us from our bodies. Do you know many women who like their body? I don't. I grew up hearing women hating their bodies, right? Like criticizing their bodies because they didn't fit into this beautiful, lovely, young, thin maiden type. The mother's body is beautiful. It's amazing. It's remarkable. So, hi, Katie. Good to see you, honey. So, it's disconnected us from our bodies. And how do we come back to the body? Breath, presence, and feeling our feelings. Katie's going to talk on this in just a little bit. So, our culture has disconnected women from their bodies, disconnected women from their power in birth, cannot handle our emotions, has told us, don't feel, don't cause trouble. Let's be seen and not heard, right? This is the bane of our existence, because I truly believe that if we want to heal our culture and raise a new generation of human beings that are empathetic and connected and diverse and at peace, we have to start with birth, because our trauma cycle is either healed in birth or it's exacerbated in birth. So if you're someone who's had birth trauma, which is a huge percentage of women, you're not alone. And we're going to work on that. We're going to hold space for you. We're going to heal and allow your next birth to be different and redemptive. So the system that we live in, this patriarchal system that's disconnected us from our bodies, our voices, our intuition, the true feminine, wild, unruly, emotional nature of who we are, that system is not going to change itself. But I can tell you what will change the system. It's masses of women practicing what I'm going to share with you over the next 5 days, which is inner trust and a connection to their body, a connection to their soul, and an unshakable spirit, an ability to use their voice to speak up for what's right, to speak up for their children, to think outside the box, right? There's so many decisions you're going to make as a mom right when your baby comes out. Right when your baby, the medical model says vitamin K shot, hepatitis B vaccine. You have to do your research. You have to look at those things. And then it's every week, something changes. So many decisions. So my goal is to help you be so incredibly connected to your voice and your spirit and your truth and your body as an intuitive system for sensing what you need and who you are. You're so connected to that the patriarchy is just like laughable. So like someone says something to you at your 20-week appointment and you get an ultrasound, oh, your baby's measuring big. At 20 weeks, they're already instilling that doubt in us. That's a bunch of crap. You know why? I had someone just recently that I worked with. She gave birth a week ago. She told me that in our first meeting. And I, I'm gentle, of course, but I said, your baby's the perfect size. Your baby's the perfect size. You know why? Because 90% of what your body's going to do is going to be affected by your mind. Right? So if you think your baby's big and they're telling you from 20 weeks, oh gosh, am I going to tear? Oh, is my baby going to fit through my body? Oh gosh, it's measuring big. Like, yeah, oh man, they're instilling doubt in us from that very first ultrasound, which we're going to get into ultrasounds and cervical checks and mindset and how your provider affects your experience over the next several days. But I want you to be able to hear comments like that and be like, oh, fear mongering. I'm going to put that over here. Or maybe I'm going to change providers. Maybe I'm going to decide to go somewhere else. Right? I want that to be so intuitive in you that the entire system changes, because the providers and the parts of the system that are scaring us and doubting us and telling us that something's wrong with us when it's not even evidence-based, that part can fade away. We have the power to choose something different for ourselves. And you need a strategy. You need a connection to your body and to your intuition. And you need a deep sense of trust and a community in order to do that. So that's what we're doing here. That's what we're creating. Another thing I want to say is that the you that is the mother already, was passed down from your mother, from her mother, from her mother, from her mother. And we're bringing in this divine feminine energy. So when you stand at the precipice of birth or any threshold that arises in motherhood, because you're going to meet your edge again and again in your growth, I want you to remember that you have all of those women rooting for you. They are cheering you on. They are there with you. They are connected to you. There is no separation, that you can call upon them at any point. I had an experience in my second birth that was really life-changing. It was very, very spiritual. And I had a ton of anxiety for my second birth. So if you're here for a redemptive birth after trauma, I hear you. I was so afraid. And I sat at 4 centimeters for over a week, not going into labor, but I was feeling the labor. I was feeling the sensations. I was really uncomfortable. I went to 41 weeks and 6 days. And I walk into the hospital in labor. Finally, I go into labor. I went from 4 centimeters to 8 centimeters in like 1 hour, which is incredibly intense. We're going to talk about some of that physiology here in the next couple of days. I went from 4 to 8 centimeters in an hour, got to the birth center, got immediately in the tub, 10 centimeters, I'm pushing my baby out. And it is so intense. He was 10 pounds. I'm not a huge person. He's 10 pounds. I know, right? It's kind of crazy. And I knew that there was another woman at the birth center having a baby. And she was a first-time mom. And I remembered that like first-time moms usually takes a little bit longer because your body hasn't ever done it before. So I remembered my first birth, and I'm kind of in this like altered state, labor trance, 10 centimeters starting to push. You really do kind of leave your body. It's a completely different brainwave, which Katie's probably going to be able to speak to here. I heard her down the hall, like making the labor sounds, which sounds a little bit like, oh, as like your contraction, your uterus is pushing your baby down. And I was also having a contraction, and I took some breaths and I sent my energy to her, and I felt this beautiful connection that was just unspeakable. It is unspeakable. And I knew in that moment that I was in the portal with her, that we were together and that we were helping each other. Our babies were born like 5 minutes apart. Like my husband caught my baby because my midwife was like back and forth, which thank God he did, because it was during COVID. We had masks on, nobody could see. It was a wild, wild experience. So you are connected to all the women who've ever given birth. You're connected to that great mother. And we're going to tap into this connection over the next several days. Does that sound good? Yes, so grateful for my sisters and mom who carried me through birth and postpartum. Yes, Meg. Trust your body. Yes. Love that legacy. Yep, they told you your baby was measuring in the 90th percentile and you'd need a C-section, but he came early on his own and 0 problems. You would not believe how many times I've heard that. Like, did you guys know that an ultrasound can be up to a pound off either direction? Like, it's completely inaccurate. It's wild that so many people are being medically induced for that big baby. That's a whole nother topic. So here we are. It's 10:45. Are you guys ready to do some nervous system work, breath work, some embodiment exercises? That sound good? Oh, thank you, Legacy. All right. Welcome, Katie.
Thank you.
I'm so happy
With you guys, and that was such a good power up talk to start the morning.
Thank you. Yeah, it's my pleasure. Yeah, so if you guys aren't familiar with Katie's work, I found her on Instagram And I fell in love with her immediately. She's talking about breath work. She's this mama powerhouse businesswoman. She's got this beautiful service, this portal with breath work exercises. And I immediately was like, oh my gosh, she has something that I need. And when I wanted to create this event, I reached out to her and said, hey, this is what I'm doing. I really want someone who specializes in these key areas. And she was like, it's a go, let's do it. So I'm so excited to introduce Katie.
Oh, thank you. And I'm so excited to be here with you guys. Yeah, when you asked me to be part of this, I was like, no question, I'm in. I am so in. So yes, hi, I'm Katie. I'm a breathwork facilitator, and I specialize in helping mothers on their journey to become mothers or within motherhood. So whether that is trying to conceive, pregnancy, postpartum, going through loss or pregnancy after loss, and really just in those first few years of motherhood where everything can feel a little overstimulating and dysregulating. First, I want to make sure, can you guys hear me okay? I
Yeah.
sound okay? Okay, great. Um, yeah, and so a little bit about me and my journey, and how I got here is that my journey to motherhood was not easy. I struggled with postpartum anxiety, very severe, a little bit of depression as well, and recurrent pregnancy loss. So I had several losses, and I did all the modalities. I did therapy, art therapy, movement, nature breaks, all of it. And all of these things are wonderful, and I definitely recommend them. And they helped in the moment, but they were never long lasting for me personally. And that's when I found breathwork. And breathwork, that it just has a way of getting you out of your head and into your body like nothing else. And I'm sure, Leah, you've done breath work, you know the feeling. And the great thing about it is that it's just so accessible, right? We all have lungs. We can breathe. Hopefully we all have lungs. Yeah. So so yeah, I want to talk a little bit first about the nervous system and what happens in the nervous system when we are pregnant and after birth. So we have these two sort of branches of our nervous system. We have the parasympathetic, which is our rest, digest, receive state. And then we have our sympathetic state, which is our fight or flight. And using breath work, we can activate either of these responses, right? So, really, breath work is just about controlling your breath to elicit a physiological response. And so, with that, you can either go for the big sympathetic response where you want to release emotions, you want to really dive juicy into transformation and healing. Or you could tap into the slow, deep breathing. So, your parasympathetic state, which is absolutely perfect for pregnancy and postpartum when you're already depleted and you really need to tap into that rest and receive state, right? And so during pregnancy, you have two nervous systems in your body, which is like so significant, right? And so you can think of nervous system responses as a cascade of information from mother to baby. Like think of like an onion, right? So the mother's on the outside and the little layer on the inside is the baby. So everything, and by the third trimester, your fetus is developed enough, the nervous system is developed enough to actually respond to stimuli. So everything that you're feeling in that third trimester, your baby is feeling as well. And there can be a lot of stressful situations that come up in pregnancy. And if you are able to tap into your parasympathetic state, your rest and digest state, then you can have direct influence on how your baby is feeling in utero. And you, of course, you and baby, so important. So, really, breathwork is a tool for you to shift yourself into that state whenever you need to. And then, after the baby is born, attunement and co-regulation is everything, right, for the mother-baby dyad. And mothers in this state, we are primed to keep our babies alive. So that story about, oh, I can hear my baby crying from like way down the hall with the door closed. That's right, right? We have this hypervigilance built into our system, and we're always on alert because we are literally there to keep our baby alive. And while this is a very natural and normal response, if a mother's nervous system is already sensitive, or if there's a lot of stressful situations going on, or if that mother is not properly supported, then this can lead to a lot of dysregulation and exhaustion, right? And if you are, well, then, oh, if you add in the cocktail of hormones, right? So you're right after birth, your estrogen and your progesterone go right down and your cortisol levels go up. This is also going to have, that increase of a stress response. So really, what I do is supporting the mother because it's so important. And if you fully support a mother to come into this role, then not only will she thrive, but the baby will thrive as well. So, like, mother's health is global health. We all benefit from that, right? So, yes, as Leah said, I have a library of breathwork practices in my portal, and a lot of them are specifically geared towards trying to conceive, pregnancy after loss, envisioning your perfect birth, and then carrying you through to postpartum and mom life. And so today we are going to do a lovely, gentle, nourishing parasympathetic practice. So this is a practice that is going to be slow, so it is safe for everybody. If you don't know, sympathetic breath work is not safe for pregnancy. So we are just sticking with parasympathetic today. Okay, and I have my tea here. I have a bit of a sore throat, just fair warning, catching my daughter's cold. So if I do need to take breaks and have some tea, that's why, but I'll try to keep it peaceful for you guys. Okay, wherever you are and however you're feeling right now, let's begin. I invite you to gently close down your eyes if that feels safe for you. And if not, you can feel free to simply lower and soften your gaze, maybe looking down at your lap. And I invite you to arrive here fully. Body, breath, heart. Know that every part of you is welcome here today. And just start by saying hi to your body. Maybe this is the first time that you've really checked in with yourself today. Yeah, and releasing some of that tension, dropping your shoulders down your back, noticing if there's anywhere in your body that needs a little extra love and attention today. And begin to find your breath. Notice the rhythm that you're breathing in without changing or shifting it. Just follow the breath in and out without judgment. Is it tense, constricted, or stuck somewhere? Or is it fluid and open, freeing maybe? And on your next inhale, I want you to take a nice deep breath in, as if to call your energy back into your body. Just reclaiming your energy from the many movements and situations of the week. And as you exhale, you settle a little bit more of yourself here in this moment. And every breath in, just feel yourself calling in your awareness, your attention, yourself back in, as if you're collecting yourself little bit by little bit. And every exhale allows you to release the external noise and all the shoulds woods, to-do lists, allowing yourself to just be here and receive. Now see if you can start to really relax into your breath, softening and slowing down the pace of your breath even more. Maybe even drawing out your exhale ever so slightly. The exhale is where we rest, where we receive, and where we find nourishment within ourselves. And just feel your breath, knowing that there is no right way to breathe. And there is no right way to notice your breath. There's no wrong
Att
way
han
or right way to do.
dunkade huvudet lite i golvet för att få den verksamheten. Stängde av den här nu.
Emma, maybe you can mute yourself. Thanks.
Or Vera, can you mute her? Oh, she did it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. There's no right way or wrong way to do this practice. This inhale and this exhale. This collection and the release. Letting it be effortless. Letting it be easy. Now, I invite you to feel the crown of your head and just let your attention rest here for a moment. You might feel the skin, the bone, the fascia, or you might notice a glowing light here at the crown of your head. Moving down ever so slightly to the space between your eyebrows. You may feel this as a physical point, or you may imagine a little glowing light here as well. And moving down again to the center of your throat. Just letting your attention rest here at the center of your throat. And moving over to the right shoulder. And your right elbow. Down to your right wrist. And all the fingers on your right hand. Just noticing your entire right arm. And then moving over to your left shoulder and letting it relax. And down to your left elbow. And your left wrist. And all the fingers on your left hand. And feeling your entire left arm relax. Now feeling the center of your chest and your entire heart space. Taking a moment to pause here and notice what lies here at the back of your heart. Maybe you see a little glow of light here as well. Feel your solar plexus and slowly moving down to your belly and the space right below your belly button. And now feel the base of your spine. Noticing a glowing light here as well at the base of your spine. And imagine that your spine starts to extend all the way down like a cord into the earth. Feel like you're rooting down in this place, connecting to every layer of the earth. And then imagine feeling the breath lifting the crown of your head up, as if vertebrae by vertebrae. And as you inhale, you're creating more space in your body. And so you feel both rooted down, but also lifted. And as you exhale, just imagine that breath traveling down the spine and down into this anchored place, maybe even into the root system, into the earth. And just imagining that breath slowly traveling up and down your spine with the timing of your unique breath. And the next time you inhale, feel like you are inhaling all the way up past the crown of your head, beyond the confines of your body, maybe through an antenna that reaches up to the heavens. And as you exhale, the exhale comes back down through the body and down into the earth. And there's no end at the top or at the bottom of this breath to your connection to the earth or to the source from above. So as you inhale, your awareness travels up through the crown of the head and into the infinite. And as you exhale, it travels down through the body and into the ground, rooting you here. And just continue following this line up and down the core center of your body, the center of your being. And you can allow it to extend as high or as low as you want. And imagining the rest of your body easily coming into alignment around this core. And through this channel that you've created, you can see that there's energy flowing down through the upper realms down all the way through every part of you, through your whole system, and then rooting itself down into the earth. And there's nothing for you to do to make this magic happen. It's just being available and present for the energy to flow through you. An energy that both grounds you and expands you. And letting that visualization go for a moment, I want you to imagine now that deep within your body, there's a center of truth, a space that holds your wisdom and your knowing, a space that you always come back to when you're needing to make a big decision. For some, that space may live in the heart. For others, in the womb space, the belly, or even the spine, maybe somewhere else. Let your awareness travel to that space now, wherever your center of truth is. Don't overthink it. There's no need to search because your body already knows where this place is. This has been your place of connection, your center of truth since the day you were born. And this place continues to carry you forward. So once you find this place, let your attention rest here. Really breathe into this space, sending it some gratitude for being your center of truth and for holding you steady. You can even imagine a little fire burning here. It's not a fire that rages or a fire that destroys. It's a fire that remembers. It's a fire that warms you from the inside out. This is the fire of your inner knowing, the flame of your truth. It's quiet, but unshakable. And with every inhale, you feed that fire. And with every exhale, try to let yourself soften around the fire, knowing that it's got you. And you give it space to grow, not outward, but inward, deeper, fuller, more alive. Notice how it feels to sit with this flame, to let it be your guide in this life. Not a voice from outside, but a warmth that rises from within. A deep inner knowing within your body. The fire doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't second guess. It simply knows. And let your breath continue to stoke this fire. And let it glow brighter with every breath, filling your body with clarity, with strength, and with presence. A sort of quiet power within. And if you feel the need to ask it a question, now would be a great time, just in the back of your head or your heart. Ask your fire what you need to know and just be open to receiving anything that comes up from the depths of your inner knowing. And remind yourself that you're never in a decision process alone. When you remember to breathe, when we can remember to check in with our intuition, our inner fire, and even if we can remember in these moments to reach out for help from our guides, from our ancestors, or the spirits around us, we can remember to open to something greater than ourselves. You always know how to take a deep breath and take the time necessary to get clear and to tap into that inner knowing, that inner fire that we all have burning within us. I invite you now to let that image of the inner fire go for a moment. And before we end the practice, I want to leave you with a breath pattern that you can do anytime, any place when you're feeling in need of some energetic protection. So I specifically did this one when I was pregnant with my daughter, and it really carried me through. So keeping your eyes still closed, I want you to let your attention rest down at your root, right at your pelvis where you're connected to the earth. And beginning that inhale, you're going to inhale and trace up the front of your body, all the way up over your belly, chest, neck, face, and up to the crown of your head. And letting your exhale trace down the back of your body, all the way until reaching your root again. And beginning that circle again, inhaling, tracing up your belly, chest, neck, face, head, and let your exhale just cascade down the back of your body, back down to your root. Again, inhaling, tracing up the front of your body, all parts of your body, and exhaling down the back, upper back, mid back, low back. And just keep breathing in this way, going at your own time, using your own unique breath pattern, tracing a circle around your body. This beautiful circle of protection that you can make as big or as small as you like. And if you choose to, you can even include other people in your circle, maybe a child or a partner, a parent, anyone that feels right for you to include in your circle of protection. And just seeing the circle start to expand a little bit, including the people in your life that you love and hold dear. A few more of these circles of protection, using your breath to trace this beautiful circle. And now I invite you to make your next circle your last one. And you can place your hands over your heart, either in prayer or just here over your heart. And just try to soften the muscles and the space around your heart. Because in this motherhood journey, we do need that inner fire, that fierce protection. But we also need an open heart. So just remembering that and taking that with you. And taking some time to give yourself some gratitude to do this practice and to let yourself receive. And start to slowly extend your awareness from your inner world to your outer world. And start to feel the temperature of the air on your skin. And feel the clothing you're wearing on your body. And just begin to notice where you're situated in the room. And slowly, steadily, you can open your eyes and come back here with us. And just taking a moment to notice if there has been a shift in your breath, in your mood, in your awareness from the beginning of this practice to now, the end of this practice. And know that at any time, if you need to access this little inner fire, your inner wisdom, that it is always there for you. You just need to tune into your breath and your wisdom. It's all there. You all have that. And thank you so much for allowing me to guide you in this short practice today. It was my honor. And I am here to answer any questions you may have. I'm also going to take off my sweater because I am very hot.
Thank you so much, Katie. Gosh, that was so beautiful. I was just working with a woman who is planning her family, and she's got a great career, booming social life, wonderful lifestyle. And she was just really thinking and thinking and thinking. And I could tell that she needed to tap into her body and sense that inner knowing. And that is so powerful to have a connection to. Emily, you sleepy, babe? I got a little sleepy too, which is great. It's so powerful. And the replay for this is going to go out to you guys in an email. So you can listen to that as many times as you want to. Katie, where can they find you?
Yeah, so my website is, oh, thank you. That's nice. My website is othermind.ca. And on there, I have a library of breathwork practices in the breathwork membership. It's called the Om Portal. And there are some in there that are specific to pregnancy and, envisioning your perfect birth and connecting deeply with your baby. And then again, in postpartum, really allowing yourself to process all of that that happens in postpartum. So that is all in the membership. And I created a discount code for everybody who is attending this beautiful 5-day immersion with Leah. I think it is BBA. Here, let me type it in here. I think it's BBA 15 for 15% off if you are interested. Absolutely zero pressure. But yeah, breathwork, it really is such a powerful way to get out of our heads and into our bodies. And, when you're at all these medical appointments, your brain is just like, firing in all cylinders. And it can be really hard to come back into your body and find that center and that inner knowing, that wisdom that you already have, and really tap into that place, because you will need to make decisions that you will live with forever. And so you want to know that you're making the right decision, not only for you, but for your baby, a decision that's empowered, that's really grounded in your beliefs, And so breathwork is such a wonderful way to get in tune with that part of yourself.
Yeah, it's actually my number one pain management tool that I use with every person. Like it's incredible, and it's so important to practice it ahead of time before you need it, right? I mean, you need it all the time, really, but
Of course,
yeah,
yeah. The more you practice it, the faster it is for you to get into that state, right?
for sure.
I see
Yeah, thank
somebody
you so
has a question.
much. Somebody had
Emily, you have a
Emily have
question?
a question. Go for it, girl.
Yeah, hi, thank you so much. I'm a breath worker as well, and it's so nice to have a moment of being held. And your guidance was really beautiful. So thank you. And I hear part of what I'm taking away from your message today, Katie, is that this kind of practice can be helpful in postpartum, and then also just relaxing, like relaxing the mind, relaxing the body, helping with birth, helping with afterbirth. My specific question is what your recommendations are for breath and breathing pattern to prepare for the actual birth.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's so different for every woman, right? And I'm sure Leah can hop in here too. But once you're in that state, like I had my breathing set up, I was like, okay, I'm just going to focus on my breath. I'm going to get into my parasympathetics. But once I was in that space, it was just like I had left the planet.
Yeah.
But everybody is different, right? So I think just having the breath to focus on, having something to focus on, and really calling that back in is so integral, because there's going to be a lot of noise, lights, opinions, pain. And so, really allowing that breath to just take over your body. I would say if you want to just do a very, very simple breath pattern that you can remember in that time and space, it's just elongating the exhale, because
Yeah.
elongating the exhale is going to put you into that rest state. You are obviously not going to be in a rest state if you are actively pushing, but it's going to help calm your body. It'll help balance out your nervous system, right? Because you're going to be in a sympathetic state. But if you are able to harness that breath, harness that exhale, even just making it 1 second longer, that will really help. The other thing that I will mention is humming. So humming or singing is such a great practice during labor, because you're connecting to your vagus nerve, and the throat and the uterus have such a connection, right? So when you are relaxing your throat and you're humming, you can relax your uterus as well. So that is something that can be really helpful for some women.
Yeah, I typically, when I'm working with women with breath work for birth specifically, I do an inhale to the count of 4 through the nose, and then an exhale for 8 It's just really simple, but there's also cues that go along with that. So like you inhale and then you exhale and you make that sound. The sound, I'm all about the sounds, but also like melting into the yoga ball that you're sitting on, or like on the exhale, figure eight your hips, and just like the movement and the breath is really important. But I find that like the 4-8, inhale to 4, exhale for 8 works really well for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's that elongation of the exhale. And if the 8 feels too long, like do 7, do 6, do whatever feels good for your body. But really that elongation of the exhale allows you to counterbalance, you know, the cortisol that is rushing through your body at that time.
Exactly. Yeah. Thanks, Emily. That's a great question. Well, thank you guys so much for coming and for showing up live. We're actually, for the people who show up live, all 5 days, we're going to enter you in like a drawing to win a free intuitive report reading from Golbahar Dadian and Brian Craichley. They are, Golbahar is going to be speaking next week about internal family systems. And this reading will really help you ground into who you are and your soul's journey as a mother and birth and parenthood. Make sure you're in the Facebook group. I have a little assignment for you guys. Our assignment for this week is to create an altar. So it can be something really simple, like just something like a little bookshelf where you put an intention forth for you to focus on your birth journey. And that is either your birth if you're pregnant or if you're planning to conceive. This is really a devotional to your own internal mother, and to spend some time at it, 5 minutes every day, just taking some breaths, putting your attention on your heart, expressing gratitude for the mother within, the earth mother, your maternal lineage, and just knowing that this mother inside you is being birthed and giving space for that for 5 minutes a day. So you can put rose petals, essential oils, you can put, Mary Magdalene or any goddess that you love, pictures of your children, pictures of yourself, would all be beautiful on an altar like that. So again, join the Facebook group, take a picture of your altar, post it in there. I want to see it. And tomorrow, so the rest of the schedule, tonight at 6 o'clock Pacific Standard, Dr. Marian Rose is going to be speaking. She is one of my favorite connected and aware parenting experts. She specializes in the maternal infant connection and the inner loving present mother. She is a beautiful person, and she's going to be speaking at 6 o'clock. And then tomorrow we have our 10 a.m. session, which we're going to dive into all the physiology of birth. So I find that when you're really rooted in the physiology and your mind has like an understanding of that, it's a lot easier to trust. We're going to talk about hormones. We're going to talk about sex. We're going to talk about partner intimacy. We're going to talk about your space. And really setting your body up to move with the sensations and be in that sensual flow. So don't miss that. It's going to be good and juicy. And then at 1 o'clock tomorrow, I'm going to do a live Q&A for 30 minutes. And then at 1:30, we're going to hear from Trish Ware, who is the creator of Labor Nurse Mama. And she will be talking about self-advocacy and using your voice throughout your birth experience. And we'll be doing EFT with her as well, which I love. So show up live. We love having you. Create your altar, take some time, take some space to honor yourself on this journey. Thank you, Katie. I'm so grateful for you. And we'll see you tomorrow or tonight, both.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.